What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stokastic here in the Odd Chopper channel coming to you with another edition of Lindy's Leans. Likes, locks, hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell goes a long way for me on this video, goes a long way for you. That way you become a prize whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods, watching the NBA draft as it is progressing. Things are happening, getting some money down on that one as well. Hopefully everybody enjoys betting as much as I do on these random different things. But again, it's not even that random. It's just playing a little bit of chess here. So far, pretty darn chalky, but got a little bit of value there at 7 with Donovan Clayton. So happy to be hitting that ticket. And now we just continue on our merry way, watching some MLB here in the evening window. Tons of random rain showing up in Boston. That's probably going to get called. We got New York. We'll see if this game goes official because they've got through 4.5. Know the rules of your sports books. That's very important. Tons of weather. Premium Discord probably noticed I was pretty quiet about a lot of stuff. I was worried about weather pretty much nonstop when I looked at this slate on Tuesday night into Wednesday. Some of that came to fruition. We had some random stuff pushed back the St. Louis Atlanta game. We got the rain out from that doubleheader. And then, of course, the randomness that was that Toronto-Boston spot, which, again, I don't even have words for that. And then Mets game. We'll see how this ends up coming to fruition. But either way, we're on to Thursday. We're on to Cincinnati, as Bill Belichick would say. We'll check BetMGM out. We'll check out Odd Chopper as well. 9 games, though. A little bit better with the weather here in this spot. So, producer Jacob, without further ado, let's get to the picks. Fiesta. Actually, no, his name is David Festa, and he is the number 4 prospect in my Minnesota Twins organization. He's going to be taking on Jordan Montgomery, who is terrible, horrible, no good, very bad at pitching this day and age. Reading the good news on the newspaper page. Days go by. Some of you know your real ones if you know. But anyway, Jordan Montgomery, 350 XWOB, but 291 expected batting average, sub 16% K rate, and lots of Minnesota righties that are going to try to make his life very miserable. Did you know Minnesota third highest WRC plus now against left-handed pitching on the season? Oh boy, there's going to be no hitting value whatsoever to mine out of this one. So we're going to have to pay attention to the pitching matchup with David Festa on the other side going up against the Arizona bats. Now Festa, for those who don't know, he's about 6'6". He's a big arm, but I want to at least point out one of the beauties of Fangraphs. Now, where do I pull a lot of my data? Fangraphs. Where does like 99% of the industry pull their data? Well, Fangraphs, Baseball Savant as well, MLB StatCast data. That's kind of the combination of everything. And Fangraphs has some of that StatCast data, which makes it easier to export my data. That is all I got for you right now. But there are projection sources that at the beginning of the season do a great job of encapsulating what can potentially happen with prospects. What is their outlook going forward? You have Zips, you have Steamer, you have the Bat. Those are the big ones that I always want people paying attention to. Also, Fangraphs does their own that have been pretty good here of late as well. I'm accumulating sample size on them, but back testing some of it. Really good stuff. Want to shout them out considering they're the OGs, but that basically is Steamer that they are utilizing in those spots. And a lot of the data is identical between Fangraphs, Steamer, so on and so forth. But anyway, you don't care about that. Eric, what are you getting at here? Well, how about a 13.12 K per 9 here over on the old advanced metrics here? We have that projecting out to a 23%, well, 35.1% at the AAA level, 23% from Zips and the Bat. Right around 23, 24% K rate here for the big league level. I'm very curious where these books open the prop numbers here on the Arizona Diamondbacks, because it's not that they strike out a ton against righties, just 20.8%, but 100 WRC plus. Think this is an easier spot than most for somebody to be making their pitching debut. He's going to get a lot of run support. Might look at him to back him to get a win as well. That might be something to pay attention to, but I'm going to do this. I'll lean beyond a lean beyond a lean, but I want to bet this, but it's a lean beyond a lean. David Festa. Shout out his family. I'm sure they're going to be in attendance. It's going to be fun. Up to 7 strikeouts. Who darling? I bet 3.5. No, 3.5 won't show up. 4.5. 4.5 would be nice. We got Shota Imanaga. We got Jordan Hicks on the other side, a Cubs spot that I find to be very, very fascinating. Very, very fascinating, mainly because Imanaga, he's been a regression candidate for me. I've brought it up multiple times here on this program. Did he look good in the early going of this season? Absolutely. Did he outperform expectations and outbeat Yamamoto for the Dodgers, who I thought was in a much better spot before getting hurt? Yes, that would exist as well. But Shota Imanaga, 40.2% hard hit, 10% barrel percentage. That being said, this is a good ballpark to prevent major power, but still a ballpark with extra real estate. And as such, I do think Imanaga going to be a more difficult spot than projected up against San Francisco in an afternoon ball game in San Francisco. So Jordan Hicks on the other side, he is just not that good. 42.6% hard hit, 426 expected slugging. But this is also like his first go around as a full-blown nonstop starter because he had been a bullpen arm and a really good bullpen arm at that with St. Louis in 2023 and earlier. That was kind of his team. And well, he was very, very good as that bullpen arm. Sub 3.4 expected ERA, now north of 4.4. That's something that you can always expect when somebody goes from a reliever where you could throw out 100 ad nauseum and, for an inning, 2 innings, to then having to be a lengthened out starter. So the over of 7.5, this is the first play on the board for me. I like it. Half unit, continuing on our merry way. So much weird stuff with Atlanta. We had a very, very weird day trying to figure out exactly who was pitching, when they were pitching, and they ended up moving Sale to going to Chicago. I don't know if this is something that he asked for, the opportunity to go stick it to his old franchise. He goes, leaves them, gets to Boston. Life was good until it wasn't. Now it's good again here in Atlanta. Sale's been one of the best pitchers in baseball, 262 expected slugging, 31.4% K rate. But we don't have the exact starter on the Chicago side. I believe that it's going to be Drew Thorpe. That's who's listed over on MLB.com, but not listed at any of the books. And that makes it kind of interesting because some spots just assumed that it was going to be Drew Thorpe and threw him up there, but didn't see that from the team officially. 42.2% hard hit, 385 expected slugging. Can I just throw it out there again? Know the rules of your sports book. If you're going to have live action and it's going to be somebody else, like Drew Thorpe got completely blistered his last time out. I think it probably happens with Atlanta bats again, but minus 162 to back them on the run line. Yeah, no thank you. Rob Dillingham traded to the Wolves. That's who I wanted. No way. We got it. That's the guy that I wanted. San Antonio took him and they traded him to the Wolves. But I love the NBA draft. Oh, yeah, baseball. And let's talk odd shop. $14.95 weekly, $49.95 monthly for the OS Premium Tools Discord Insider Access. You want to talk some goodies? We can talk some goodies down there, my friends. Obviously, Wednesday was a wild one with weather, with other things, but I am in there routinely. I'm chatting with the people. I'm firing up my picks, and you can come along for the ride for $14.95 weekly, $49.95 monthly, but it gets a little bit cheaper if you use promo code Lindy. That is me, 20% off. If producer Jacob throws it up on the screen, there it is. Expert picks, Discord Premium Tools. It's okay. You can do no wrong in my eyes. Rob Dillingham is a Minnesota Timberwolf. I'm so happy. Oh my goodness. Back to the picks we go. Next up on our boarding walk, another massive favorite. We go from minus 290 on Atlanta to minus 295 over here on the Philly side of things. Marlins on the comeback plus 240. All righty. Good times. Good job, good effort. You know what? We can't possibly get here on this Philly side of things. I will say home minus 126, obviously the runner indifference, and that's why you're seeing a much better price on the run line. People ask me about that all the time. Yeah, home team, you're going to get a better price on that than if you go to the last slide and you see minus 290 and you saw an inflated minus 160 number. That's because they get that ninth inning at bat. It is added into the projections. Too much on both sides of it here. This run line is actually a little bit more acceptable than the last one, which is ironic because they both be leans. But let's talk a batting prop here going up against Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers' neighborhood here for Trevor Rogers. 352 xWOBA, 282 expected batting average, 454 expected slugging. Only a 9.8 degree average launch angle against, so not into the double digits like we've seen on a couple of these fly ball pitchers of late. And that's where I do want to really lean towards Alec Boehm, 2+ bases more so than the home run. I'm putting the home run as mainly because it could be a fun little ad here, but looking at the weather for tomorrow, pretty decent spot. Philly's been a good hitting ballpark all season long here, especially now as we get into those summer months playing a little bit smaller. Kyle Schwarber double dong, anybody? Not for me tomorrow, left on left, but Alec Boehm, 2+ bases, definitely going to be on my card. And this one, I'm trying to figure out exactly who and what and when I'm going to fire it up. But John Gray, going to go visit Corbin Burns and the Baltimore Orioles. Now, both of these righties, they have to deal with lefties. That's going to be the problem, is dealing with left-handed power. And, well, Baltimore has a lot more of it with Gunnar Henderson, Colton Cowser, Ryan O'Hearn, who went yard again today, and then a guy we'll get to later, Cedric Mullins. I'll throw him in there too, even though the power hasn't necessarily been there. He went yard today too, ironically enough. But Corey Seager, you got to get by Corey Seager if you're Corbin Burns. If not, well, Corey Seager can make you pay $50 every day, or actually a lot more than that, because I'm sure Corey Seager makes more than $50 for every home run. But John Gray, friends, this is the guy that we want to target to some extent here. He gives up a lot of this lefty power that I kind of alluded to. 43.4% hard hit on the season period, 276 expected batting average. Special shout out to Colton Cowser, 51% hard hit, 502 expected slugging, and a whopping 359 xWOBA. That is really ridiculous here on the season. All of this lefty power, I think he becomes like the undersold guy, considering he bats sixth or deeper. Him and Cedric Mullins in the back half of that lineup. It's an embarrassment of riches for the Baltimore Orioles. They can play the platoon game, especially if, if Kierstead has a stint that ends up panning out here. It's going to be fun to watch. But both of these teams, well, they've had some hiccups of late. But Texas, against righties, sub 95 WRC plus now, more gettable, but I'm paying attention to hitting props specifically in this one. Carlos Rodon and Jose Berrios, and you should know from the get-go that I am interested in this one. But all of that being said, you're going to have a fresh bullpen from Toronto if this game ends up rained out on Wednesday night. So I was sitting around waiting for it. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to decide whether or not this is a price I want to dip on. But I really want to see, again, Thornton can be a really good closer out there. He pitched on Tuesday. If he has Wednesday off coming into Thursday, that's kind of a problem for me and something that I do want to be gauging. So I'm going to also hope that Toronto takes in some money, but New York, they're so publicly backed. I don't know. Can we get the Canadian nation, the entire country to rally behind your Toronto Blue Jays so we can get a better price betting against Jose Berrios, because that's how we do things here. But Carlos Rodon, he's had some better stuff. Just want to throw it out there. Lean like that is the combination. You know how much I want to bet against Berrios, but I want to get something inside of minus 130. I doubt we get there. It's going to be a stretch. Bikram yoga stretch. Oh, gosh. Why did they have to have that rain out on Wednesday, or potential rain? This is beautiful, though. First bet safety net up to $1,500. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, one way you can support this program is heading down to the link below and simply doing that. All you have to do is deposit $25 or more and bet $25 or more. You'll get yourself anything you want. $25 up to $1,500. When you bet it, you win the bet, keep the money. You lose the bet, get it back in bonus bets. That is 2 chances to strike really big over at BetMGM. So take a look. It's in our book. Not reading Rainbow, because I don't have the rights to that. Only if you're 21 and over. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Back to the picks we go. Andrew Abbott, Miles Michaelis, he is very, 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 very bad. This contract is horrendous. Every time I pull it up on Fangraphs, actually, I'm just going to pull it up on Fangraphs while we're talking about it, because, again, I have everything in my sheets, so I don't generally pull it up. I outsource the data as we're talking about it, but where did it go? Service time, 7 years, $18.6 million this season, 3 years, $56 million. You know what you get for that? Absolutely squad diddly douche, because he's been terrible. I'll read it. I'm back. 259 expected batting average, 440 expected slugging, and just an 18.2% K rate. These are not the pitchers you're looking for. Andrew Abbott is 31.6% hard hit, 369 expected slugging. Everything across the board looking quite nice for him. So I'll take the dog in Cincy, but I'm not going to bet it, and here's why. You still have some righties that have some power there on the Cardinals side, and I just don't trust these Cincinnati bats in every single situation on the road. You get them out of Great American Small Park, and you get them out of like the real heat and humidity that they just had. It's going to be 80 at first pitch. Wind's going to be blowing in here. It's not as good of a hitting park. Ellie De La Cruz get on base and steal a couple bags. I'm sure that'll happen. But Cincy money line, just a lean for me. If it gets outside of plus 115, reconsider. Back to a play for you. Cleveland and Kansas City. I almost said Cincinnati. We're on to Cincinnati. That's in my head now. But Ben Lively, Michael Waka, he's going to be on the other side of this one. And both of these pitchers, I think, can do just enough. We had a total, the Cubs in San Francisco in a good pitcher's park. This should be decent hitting weather, and that's why we have a 9 total here. And yet I'm going to side on the part of just taking the under. I think Ben Lively's done enough for me. despite a 43.2% hard hit, he's been effective. 238 expected batting average, 306 xWOBA. I'm not saying he's my favorite back by any means, but Kansas City, they're lethal. They can be dangerous, but a 3.73 expected ERA, that's much better than I was expecting from Ben Lively. So shout out him. And then Waka has been way better than anticipated. 301 xWOBA, 382 expected slugging, not giving up crazy power to both sides there. And he has some positive regression coming for his ERA, sitting at 4.07, 3.60 expected ERA. So this is actually the only money line that I haven't not money line. This is the under. This is my favorite play on the board here. We'll get to a play that I have next. That's your official money line play. The Yankees one we'll be paying close attention to. But this under 9, my favorite play here from Thursdays thus far. I was hoping for a little bit better price, and yet I'm okay with it. I understand people's aversion from wanting to lay a bunch of juice on a favorite in baseball, but this is about as good of a spot as you're going to have for somebody like Jack Flaherty to really, really capitalize on how good they freaking are. And yeah, it's the Detroit lineup. That's kind of the freaky part. And it's a little bit of an unknown with the pitcher situation with this Daniel character. Let's talk through all of it. Jack Flaherty, 263 xWOBA, 33.3% K rate. One of the best starters in baseball, surely going to be on the move. As for Davis Daniel, we now have a couple of starts from him, and he's been good. He's like the gold standard for them in the pitching staff, especially with Patrick Sandoval gone, with Griffin Canning not really working out so far. But a 3.77 expected ERA, 2.19 ERA, and that is just through 3 starts. There's some decent stuff that we're seeing, but there's also some telltale signs. He has 9 walks through those 3 starts. That is iffy. His K rate is identical to his walk rate at 17.3% through these 3 starts. So maybe we see some improvement from him as he continues on his merry way, but we're talking about a sure thing in Jack Flaherty taking on an Angels team that I still think is going to be attackable. 23.2% K rate against righties, 91 WRC plus. This is my favorite money line play. It's not a lock, no locks on the card today, but I'm going to put Detroit money line like. And if you're averse to that, even money on the run line, I don't completely hate. I'm not going to double dip, but you're more than allowed to. Again, like on the money line, lean on the -1.5. Understand why you don't necessarily want to be doing that. And that does it for another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Head to the comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays that exist on the board for this lovely 9-gamer. I need a 9. That's top of the line. That's not how this goes. But anyway, BetMGM, OddsShopper, check them both out, friends. I'm going to go back to watching the draft to figure out exactly what my Timberwolves did. Got Dillingham. I have no idea how this happened. Until next time, friends, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the MLB streets on Thursday.